Food has been a huge part of our lives. It creates nostalgia, it creates joy, it creates excitement. So there's just so much that brings food together. But ultimately, food is about health.
I wake up and I ask myself, what do I feel like eating today?
Okay.
And that's what we would cook.
And I think we both mentioned we would love food. It always comes back to food.
If we can change one person in our journey, or we can give some comfort, just one person, we've achieved a lot.
Things that anchor Prana Kitchens to give us a purpose is a threefold mission. One is eating mindfully, the other is living consciously, and the third is supporting our farming communities.
Welcome to the Arrambam Show.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for having us. Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's a pleasure.
This is a long time coming because we started chatting late last year, and it was awesome that you guys reached out, and we have some special things in the works. This like amazing brand Prana Kitchens that you guys are building here, but excited to have you on the show. And you officially are the first, in some sense, food entrepreneurs, food pioneers, especially from the Tamil culture that we are talking to on the show. And I think I've seen in general. So again, I'm just really excited because from all the conversations we've had, it's been very incredible to hear everything you guys have done, and excited to hear all of that and share that with the rest of the arrambam community as well here.
It's our absolute pleasure to be here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And arrambam is doing some really cool stuff. We've been looking at all the things that you've been doing. So congratulations on bringing the community together.
Absolutely, thank you. I appreciate that, and the goal is to share things like this that are part of our culture, like food especially, which we haven't as arrambam haven't had the opportunity to do, but that will change now.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's the
And given that you're talking about Tamil and Tamil related things, so our products are also, we have quite a few Tamil related products too. So like Vata Korambu and all that, which people typically love in the deep south.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's everything we grew up with, right?
Exactly.
Exactly.
It just rings true. So, well, without further ado, I think most people know who you are and know Prana Kitchens, but for those who don't, can we get a quick introduction from your words directly? What is Prana Kitchens and who are both of you?
Sure. You go.
No, you.
Go ahead.
All right, I'll start. So I'm Shri, and my best friend Aruna, and I know she'll introduce herself, but Prana Kitchens, I can't introduce myself without having her on this journey because she's been part of this every single step of the way. So Prana Kitchens was born, the idea was born in 2020, early 2020. And of course, it's the roots go back a long way. Again, we'll expand more upon that. But the concept came about in 2020 as a way of thinking about how can we, as a community, take charge of our health and the health of our planet, and all the time not losing things that have defined who we are as we grew up. So, and that essentially comes down to food. Food has been a huge part of our lives. It creates nostalgia, it creates joy, it creates excitement. So there's just so much that brings food together. But ultimately, food is about health. So the idea was born, again, as a way of connecting to our health and that of the planet. And for me, that as soon as the idea was born, the first person I thought of is Aruna, because she has been she's lived that life for as long as I've known her, and I've known her for 30 years now. So the first call I made was saying, Aruna, I have an idea. And I don't even think I got maybe 30 seconds. And she was like, I'm in. I don't need to hear anymore. Let's just go. So it was like that. And that was such a huge, I would say, a source of comfort and at the same time strength, because there's no way everything that you see today would be possible without her firm support and her confidence and her experience. And of course, like, there's a lot of things that go into it together, but it was born as a joint, I would say, vision for us to give back what we've grown up with and hopefully leave the planet back in a way that is marginally better than we found it.
Right. For sure.
I'll turn it to Aruna for her own introduction.
Sure. So we met in when we were studying. When I applied for my master's program, I didn't even think that I would meet another fellow Indian person, like from the same town.
course.
Right. So it was a really, like, especially for me coming from India, I've been so used to always having conversations with like people around, and then you sort of miss that, right? Like especially in this country, you don't know too many people, and I got only introduced to my husband's friends.
Okay.
And then and they were much older, like in a sense, like they were at least 6-7 years older than me. Sort of missing my own peer group.
Yeah.
And the two of us met and we instantly became friends.
That's-
And of course, with her grandfather and my grandfather, best friends, all that just happened. We realized what a small world, right?
Yeah.
I mean, coming here, meeting, but our like ancestors, they were like friends and all that. So which was great. So, and what amazed me about Shri is that she has so much confidence in herself, and I've learned a lot. And also food wise, she puts in that effort. I mean, nothing comes easy, right? Like if you really want to take care of your health, there is something that you need to do to make that happen. And what we realized is that so initially I was also a little bit on the lazy side, right? I would take the easy route and all. But she would always come back from, we'll go back from school. She'd say, okay, let's cook together, right? And then I'm always in her home and we'll make something together, which is so much fun, right? We were eating healthy, fresh food every day, which gave us so much, like, health wise, if you look at it, we had so much energy, like not just to study, but to do other things as well, right? So, and then it was very easy, like with the two of us cooking together, we would take like half an hour, quickly finish up and eat. So that's what motivated me to also eating fresh, cooking every day. And in fact, she would find farms which would like give you fresh milk, and she would do butter, ghee, everything from the milk, like
That's
nothing
awesome.
nothing buying from outside, like
Yeah.
buy ghee or and
Yeah.
make yogurt, everything, right? So that's what motivated many of us. Like we were like quite a few of us together. We would call ourselves puzzles group. I don't know why we named ourselves
Oh, we
puzzles,
were
but
crazy about puzzles.
yeah,
we used to
we
do-
were all
Really?
crazy about
Okay.
This
puzzles.
is pre Google days, so we had our own little chat group where we used to send
Yeah.
puzzles every day. So.
So it was fun, and that's how we saw. I mean, we were a very nice small community, and our children grew up together, and family far away, right? But anyway, so then when she came back, and when she came to me in 2022 and said, I have this idea, and I said, okay, that must be
2020.
the 2020. Yes,
Yeah.
I said, well, the idea, I believe you. You don't even have to explain this, right?
That's
So.
awesome.
So that's how we started, and a lot of the groundwork for Prana Kitchens was like, she put in so much effort. Maybe yes, I helped her with quite a bit of like recipes and all that stuff, but many things like the vision, the what needs to happen next, and of course we had discussions about it, no question. But many things it just came to her. It could be a divine thing, I don't know. But then what really amazed us was that when we created these products, you won't believe it, Hari, we didn't do like 100 testing or nothing like that.
Yeah.
Within the second try or the third try, it would just be perfect.
That's right. Yeah.
So because the powders, the combination of all these spices, they have to come together, right? When many are like traditional ones like vata korambu and pulangari and all that, which we grew up with and from our parents and grandparents and our ancestors, but there's some other things like garam masala, the utsava spice blend, which is our own products. I don't know how it happened. It just came about.
together.
Yeah, it just
That's
came together.
incredible.
So then that's where both of us felt that this is what we are destined to do going forward.
Yeah.
And whatever health improvements that we have experienced so far, we want to give it back to the community. We want people to know what it is. And in that process, originally I was saying let's make food and food related things, we'll do it free, right? But then we figured this is one way of sort of supporting the farmers around, supporting, because we can do that. There are people who are in the hand to mouth existence right now.
Of course.
If we can provide some source of income, even something little, that would be nice.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then,
of course.
so that's the reason why we said, and with the, sustainable practices, everything is expensive. You
Right.
know how it is
Of
right
course.
now, right? Even though they're supposed to be cheap, but they are the most expensive things right now. So then that's how we, at least from my perspective, that's when I said, okay, she's doing something.
Let's do it.
Let's
Okay.
do it. Yeah.
That's
So
good. Well, we'll have to dig into that, right? Because
Of
you
course.
guys' story, as you've told me before, it started not with Prana Kitchens. It started like 30 years ago, which
Correct.
we'll dig into. So tell us all what is Prana Kitchens? What have you created? What are you selling? What are the products? What are you putting out into the market now?
Me?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I can, like, just to give you the sound bite that at least in our minds we say to ourselves all the time.
Of course.
Things that anchor Prana Kitchens to like give us a purpose
Mhm.
is a threefold mission. One is eating mindfully,
Mhm.
the other is living consciously, and the third is supporting our farming communities.
Mm.
So a lot of it, we both are deeply spiritual people, and we've found that a mindful existence has an immediate effect on our health, mental and physical well-being. A lot of it boils down to food. So we believe that we are what we eat.
Yeah.
So putting thought into what you're eating, how it's made, what do you feel when you eat, that is a very important cornerstone of just our way of life. So that's one anchor, and I'm sure Aruna will add more to it, but I'm just giving you the top view.
Yeah.
The second thing is living consciously, and this is just the way we live today,
Right.
right? Everything is instantly available. You don't think about, I can go to the market in December and pick a mango off the shelf.
Yeah.
Unheard of. When we grew up, it was just not possible. You
Because you only
finish,
get it when it's in season.
you get it when
Right,
you're
of
in,
course.
when it's in season. So it's fabulous. It's fabulous that I don't now have to think about, is something in season? Is it? Can I eat it when I want to? Because when I want it, I can go get
You
it.
have the craving. You can
When
get
I
whatever
want,
you
exactly. But with that, I believe there comes a responsibility for us into understanding how things are grown and where they come from, and how is it getting to us. So a lot of it comes down to, are we using plastics in the way we are transporting food? Are they traveling thousands of miles in probably not the best of conditions?
Mhm.
Who's harvesting it? How many hands is it going through before it reaches us? And are they all, and that of course comes to the third leg of our mission, but again, like living in a way that we are leaving the planet in a better shape, or at least not making it worse for you and your generation, the generations that come after that. So with that comes some very conscious effort to, what are we putting into our packaging?
Yeah.
And how are we processing things, and what kind of impact is it leaving on people's health, the planet's health? So that is a living consciously leg of our mission. And the third one is supporting our communities. And there's a twofold thing. When we say community, our primary community that we think of serving are our farmers.
Mhm.
Because again, we're a food-based business, and we want, in order for us to get mangoes, and let's be good and say, let's say we're going to get it seasonally,
Of course.
we still need somebody to grow it. I'm not a farmer. I don't think any of us are farmers here. I'd love to learn more about farming, but look, I don't know if I'll make enough headway for me to change the way farming is done. But
Yeah.
the more we looked into it, the more we found that there are people who are invested in doing the right thing for the planet.
Mhm.
And this is by no means saying that the big agro industries are not doing the right thing. The more I'm learning about it, the more we find that many of them are doing the right thing.
Mhm.
But there are many small farmers, there are many small communities of farmers that have indigenous crops that are rare, that are not always available. There are some rare spices that we have grown to depend on. And unless they are grown in a way that can be sustainable through generations, there is no way we, the next generation or generations to come, are going to be able to take advantage of that.
Right.
So we know that in order for us to have good food, we need to support these communities.
Mhm.
So a big part of our mission is making sure that the farmers that are creating our foods are compensated, I won't say fairly, because fair is no longer enough
Right.
to sustain their way of life. We need to give them the kind of wages that we expect to live.
Of course.
And without that, we know that farming as a occupation won't even survive. So that is like supporting our communities. That's one aspect. The other is making sure that those that may not have the privileges that we've had, we are also giving them some form of our support. And that goes back to like this one that you see here, this bag. It was made by women who were who have had have mental challenges, but have been left abandoned by their families. So there are institutions that have taken them in and are giving them a chance at rehabilitating and giving them
That's
an
nice.
opportunity to earn a living that is giving them some level of integrity and identity. So
Is that here or
this is actually in Chennai.
in Chennai? Okay.
This is actually in Chennai. So that said, we're always on the lookout for communities to support here. Aruna does every weekend. She supports a food pantry. She cooks with her hands. Like, so there are ways we try to do it, but so that's like the third part of our mission, which is to support our communities. So it's just our way of making sure that it's giving us purpose, and purpose that is thinking way beyond our health and our families and our homes.
Right, of course.
So I know I said a lot. Maybe
No,
Aruna has more
no,
to
no, no.
add.
There is always a lot to talk about around. So when we actually went and visited some of these farmers in India, what we noticed was that preserving our soil is such an important factor, right? And using chemicals on them, we are really destroying it. So we learned quite a bit from them about all of that, and some of these farmers are living in places which are that area itself is very conducive for growing certain crops. So that's where we want to source our ingredients from, because then they just grow. You just have to plant the seed in the soil and it grows. You don't need anything. You don't really need to add any manure. You don't need to add anything to it, right? And these are some of the tribal farming communities that we came across when we went. So, but then they're so far away and nobody knows about them. And
Hard to access. Yeah, right.
Exactly, right? And people do take advantage sometimes because money is become a very important factor these days, right?
Yeah.
Without that, one cannot survive. So, but then to what extent do we need to save? We have no control over that, right? It's with everything. Like if you get one tiny piece of Mysore pak, we would feel like eating another big one, right? The same thing. So if you have $10, you want 100, you want to make them 1,000, then 10,000. So that's how we have no. It's very hard for a human to sort of say, okay, this is enough, right? Until we tell ourselves that no, we need to be more aware of some of those things. So we are more into making that kind of money where we forget about what's really happening in the world. So that's what we realize. Some of the kids, we ask them, where does milk come from? They think it comes from the grocery store. They don't realize that it's not coming from a cow, right? And then there are people who take care of these cows and they have to milk them, and then they distribute this milk everywhere. And what really goes into that whole process, nobody knows, right? So that's that one awareness we want to bring to people, right? Pay a little bit more effort in trying to figure out where some of these things come from, and also the other thing that we notice is food wastage, right? That where we see that people, like when our kids were growing up, both of us were very strict about it, and a lot of people used to they would get very upset, but then
they make fun of us.
They make fun of us, yeah. But we say, hey, when you take something, take one spoon and see if you like it.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, we're not going to force you to eat it, but don't take like a handful of whatever it is and then throw it. Right?
Because you don't like it, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So control yourself. So that sort of, you got to tell yourself. But then what happens is when you don't do mindful eating, when you are with like a large group, your focus is on chatting or doing other things that you don't pay enough. You don't focus on the food part, right? So then you don't realize how much you're taking in you're putting in your plate, how much of food that's going into your body, is that really needed for your body? So those awareness, that's what we talk about mindful eating. So cooking what is right for you, what you need. So every morning actually I wake up and I ask myself, what do I feel like eating today?
Okay.
And that's what we would cook. And everybody else, like of course we'll generally have a conversation, is this something that everybody likes to eat today, sort of a thing. And then so that way you're satisfying your cravings, your needs, and you don't look for any other kind of food from outside, right? And then when you make your own stuff, you put in so much effort, then you don't feel like wasting them. You buy from your own earning. When your parents are, when my parents were earning, I had no idea how much money they were spending on food. But when we started spending money on buying foods, is when we realized, oh my God, you know what?
Everything costs a lot of money, right?
Exactly,
Yeah, of course.
right? You must be having the same experience now,
True,
right?
true.
So unless we start taking some of these responsibilities in our hand, it's we were never going to realize.
Yeah.
So we want the younger generation to sort of be a little bit more mindful about all that. Make your own food. That's the reason why we started off with spices, because we said spices not only helps with digestion, spices also flavors your food. And you can actually use one spice and make at least 10 different things.
Right. Very
Which
versatile.
Very versatile.
Yeah.
Which will satisfy your cravings. You're like, wow, I just made something new.
Yeah.
But then you're not really spending too much money on buying something another kind, right?
Of course.
So in a way, it is sort of a minimalist approach.
Right.
Spices have a slightly longer shelf life. We typically recommend for about, say, 6 months. It can go up to 2 years, but
Okay.
we recommend 6 months. That's why we have smaller packaging, so people can use it and like do like a subscription model, or
Right.
they can buy more often.
Yeah.
But then the flavor is very good. And for digestion, all of these are spices like cumin, cardamom, pepper, fennel. They all, like, we call it in Anjalapoti in
Yeah, of
Tamil,
course.
right? Like in every household there will be one.
Yeah.
And whatever is in that is what we've used
Nice.
to make it. So that's some of the other reasons why we picked what we picked as part of Prana Kitchens. And prana is a life source that we all breathe. We want good energy,
Right.
and all of this provide that sort of a support. Yeah. So that's another reason.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And I love it because it's not just, right, like, hey, let's create spices, let's create new ingredients that can be used, or a new brand. It was like, hey, there's a reason we're doing the way we're doing it, and we're carrying that mission through. I think that sort of ethos, that mentality, that vision is what, like, will continue to, like, in some regard, I see when I see these companies and they're like actually bad for you when you're eating it, it's like you're killing off your own customer. Like, yeah, that's the other business behavior, right? But this is
Very
great
true.
because this is all about, like, not just what you eat, but it's like what you're experiencing as life.
Correct.
So you guys gave us a quick peek into it, right? Of like, you called her or somebody, some sorts of conversations occurred, and then Prana Kitchens was born. So walk us through that. I want to get like a full picture of like where Prana Kitchens came from, how it came about, the founding story, and honestly, even fast forward all the way to now. Where are you guys at?
All right. So I think I have to go back to some of my life as it was when this idea was born. I've been in the tech sector for about 30 years. So we both went to school, grad school. We both did our masters in computer science.
Yeah.
And as soon as I graduated, went into the workforce. So worked all the way through and grew through the ranks, was really good at what I did, all in the tech sector, went through multiple industries. And last, like, I obviously quit and I started Prana Kitchens. But just before I did that, I was in Capital One, where I was leading a software engineering division. And there was always this, while I enjoyed what I did, I had everything I learned, everything that I grew up doing, I absolutely loved. But there was always this feeling that there was more that I'm here to do. It's not just this, it's not just go to work, build software. Hopefully it was making people's lives better. That was one of the things. I never know. You did things behind a desk, you don't know exactly how it's impacting people. And there was this hankering, I should say, or angst for wanting to have a little more of a purpose in when I wake up and say, like, I know exactly what I'm doing and why it matters. And I think we both mentioned we would love food. It always comes back to food. And it was one of those days when I was cooking that I was thinking, like, wow, this tastes so good today. And the only difference was I had made my own spices.
Yeah.
And we've talked about that. We trade recipes all the time. So we both often would talk saying, hey, you know what, I made this thing, it came out so well, and then she would tell me something. So those were constant stories.
Right.
But take the missing part of my life, this void that I was feeling, with this idea of saying that, hey, there's food tastes extra good today. Is there something we can do about this? And the third part, always being big about the way we live and living more sustainably and environmentally consciously. I was like, how can this make a difference there too? We don't want to just create another product or another company or a business, I should say, that was just losing sight of that, of our impact on the planet.
Right.
And that's when we said, okay, we may not be able to directly impact the planet, but there is a way, we know people who do, and if can we support them in that? And this basically coming back to the farmers. Mm-hmm. So that's when that's the detail behind that thought, that first call. And this whole thing happened when I was out in Sedona, hiking the Grand Canyon. And I had this thought that came about saying that there is a niche here that between health and food and wellness, and when we say health, there was a piece of it. This is Ayurveda. We've both benefited, our families have benefited individually and collectively with what Ayurveda has done for us in our health. Mm-hmm. So we were like, it's changed the way we thought about food and what it means to us as individuals. And we were like, hey, is there a way to integrate all of this together? And that's how the Prana Kitchens idea came about, and the rest you heard, like I called Aruna. And from that point on, the interesting thing was, at that day, if you had asked me any of us, I should say, what will Prana Kitchens look like in 2024?
Yeah.
We couldn't have told you. There's no way we could have told you, because it was just literally, you hear about these things, people they think first jump and then a safety net appears. That was pretty much what happened to us. I'm a deeply analytical person. Like, that's how I've been trained. That's how my career, my education, everything was that. You thought 10 steps, you planned out plan A, plan B, plan C, redundancy, like disaster recovery. You planned everything before you took the first step. That's the way we were trained. Right. But this was one that the calling was just so deep in the two of us. Like I said, 30 seconds, right? She was like, yeah, I'm in. And then we were like, okay, now what do we do? We're like, okay, we don't know. The vision was there. Yeah. We're like, okay, now what do we do? So literally, I think Aruna took the first step, and she opened up a document and she said, I don't know if you've grown up this, but you pray to God and you're like, Sri Ramajayam, or I forget exactly what. You're like, literally, you're like, okay, we got this idea, we're going to take a step. So we put that, like that first Om and that Sri Ramajayam, Pralayar Shri, yeah. We put it and we said, okay, now what? So literally, that's the step that we took. And from that point on, it was, the example I love to give is, you're driving on a dark road. Mm-hmm. Your headlights are on, and you're on a road, but all you can see is 10 feet ahead. Yeah. And you just trust that 10 feet is going to reveal the next 10 feet and the next 10 feet. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much the journey we took. I can say this now in hindsight, that's exactly what it was. But back then, all we knew was 10 feet ahead. Yeah. I had somebody who was willing to walk. We were willing to walk together on the road unknown. And there's nothing short of, I would say, miracles that made things happen. Right from recipe testing, like Aruna said, we had these ideas and we would try it, and then not try to, it would be done.
That's awesome.
So
you guys did this all at home?
We did everything at home. Yeah, nice. We would experiment with it. We met a lot. We would travel together.
You're based in Virginia.
I'm in Virginia and Atlanta. Right. That's one of the things we're still working together. Like, we started together, then we moved states. Okay. We're trying to come back together, but distance has never been an issue for us. So literally recipe tested at home together. We would try a few things on our families. We would tweak things around. Our husbands were deeply supportive. For both of us, I think it was the question of, like, if you don't do it now, then when? We're here to support you, just go for it.
Yeah.
And our kids, both of us have kids of the same age. They're at this stage where they were like, you don't have to take care of us anymore, so you have a dream, go for it.
Leave us alone. Go and focus on this
Probably.
business.
I think they were trying
it's like less attention on them.
Yeah, like, you look there. I think that's what they were doing, but they made it sound nice, though.
Right,
like,
I'll be straight with you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably a boon for them.
Now they tell us, your thing, do that.
You have your thing, do that.
Do that.
Yeah, of course.
So, yeah, I think so. From that point on, we had a lot of support from the family, and people unknown came to us. So we had this, we both are, while we have benefited from Ayurveda, we have we're not trained Ayurvedic practitioners.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it is things that we have grown up with. So it's natural to us. It's just things what we have grown up with. So we were like, okay, we need to find an Ayurveda, like somebody who's living and breathing this every day. So somebody randomly introduced our current advisor, Dr. Lal, to us.
Mm-hmm.
And he started working with us, and he told us, and then we were like, we need to find farmers. We have no idea where to find farmers.
Right.
And he was like, oh, I happen to know this one person in the India Spice Board, and he gave us a contact, and we called this person, and he didn't put us in touch with a whole bunch of people, and we met a whole bunch of farmers. We visited them, and so
all back in India.
These are all back in India. So
Nice.
That's one thing I should say, that because we grew up and we wanted to do spices,
Right.
it's the Asian subcontinent that is the most that's where spices grow.
Yeah.
So you need to go back there. So, and plus, given that we are from India, we had contacts there, so that's where we started. But I think the point is that we could say we started this, like the idea was we started this, but truly I think it was an idea given to us to execute.
Mm-hmm.
We feel very strongly that we're here fulfilling a purpose that was entrusted to us, and we've had help come in miraculous ways to us. And we just, like you too, right? Like helping to spread the word, you reaching out to us and making this happen. So every single step we've had people come and support us and take us further. So I'm very blessed for that.
Absolutely. And I think it's like one of those things where it's like, there's this serendipitous moments of like, it's everything is working, everyone's aligned, and it just like the connections happen.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's
You should tell the story of
Yeah. So my parents actually live in this place called Nana Nani, that is in Coimbatore.
Mhm.
And a lot of people feel sort of, oh, it's a senior citizen complex, it's very boring, all that. But I don't know, both my daughters, both of them and I, we feel some kind of a positive energy, some sort of a something there in that Nana Nani. Like that's where we met many of them, actually.
That's
Few.
incredible.
And they're all willing to help
Yeah.
because they think through. And so this is another family, very close family. I would say is another father figure to me. So he was like, I was just chatting with him about this Shri's idea and how I jumped into it, and then we are trying to find something.
Yeah.
He said, okay, I need to introduce you to this Ayurveda doctor. So that's how we got introduced to. So Srinivas and Mama introduced us to Dr. Lal.
Uh-huh.
And then I told Shri, do you want to talk to him? She said, yeah, I mean, at this stage, we are open to anything.
Right.
Even now, we are open to anything. We're not non-judgmental that way, right? We want to see if that's an opportunity, but we won't let go of our ethos. Our ethos is very important to us. That's the focus. The focus is not to make billions of dollars or how can we grow this company to the next level. No, of course that will eventually happen. But the focus is more on how we stay grounded with our values, right?
Of course.
So she said, yeah, let's give it a try. So Dr. Lal came into our life. He sort of gave us so much ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And then we wanted to source it. So we said that's sourcing from a farmer is something very important for us, right? So Dr. Lal actually introduced us to this spice board. He used to be at the spice board,
Okay.
Mr. Thampi. Incredible man. Oh my God, that positive energy, I don't know. We, both of us, every time we had a conversation with him, that positive energy will come out. And it will make us do more for this, right? And he gave us a bunch numbers, phone numbers to contact and see if we can. And he said, come to the Spice Board conference that will happen once a year in India.
Right.
You'll meet a lot of people there, and that's how you want to kind of get your networking done, right? So then we decided, okay, both of us are going on a trip to India, and we're going to meet with these farmers, right?
That's incredible.
So with this incredible trip in November of this 2022, yes,
2022. Yeah.
And we really wanted to meet Mr. Thampi too, but you won't believe it. We learned after reaching that he was actually going through a huge medical problem, and in spite of that, he actually connected us to so many of them. He's no more now, actually.
Oh my God.
we never got to meet
We
him.
never got to meet him.
Oh, in person.
In
You
We
guys
never got to meet him.
Never
We
got to meet him.
Wow.
literally, he was. We think of him as the person who came and he said, "Go there,"
Yes.
and then that's it.
And
That was
then
his
he
job.
just-
That's
yeah,
it.
That was
Yeah.
his job.
Okay.
But he introduced us to some
Amazing people.
amazing farming community.
Mhm.
There's Mr. Laiju who does our peppers. He grows them ayurvedically, so he uses very less water, less fertilizers.
Mhm.
I mean, it's very organically grown
Right.
and beautiful and such a positive, with so much positive energy, unbelievable. He has a family to support, and they are
Struggling.
but he doesn't want to give up this
Way
whole
of
sustainable-
agriculture.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wow.
yeah.
It's
So
like
amazing.
true
To his authentic traditional
way of-
and he is not supported by anybody around, but still he doesn't want to give up. So we actually brought single origin spices, saying, because those are not organically certified.
Right.
Organic certification is very expensive in India. So we said, okay, since these are all organic products, we can't use that ingredient yet.
Okay.
We're slowly moving towards natural product rather than organic,
Mhm.
naturally grown, right?
Right.
But before we do that, we said, let's start off with the naturally grown single origin spice wine.
Okay.
So we call it heritage. So
Okay.
coming from India. So some of these farmers, we can still support them now by
Mm.
selling this, because a lot of people use peppers, a lot of people do cardamom,
Right.
they use
Turmeric.
Right.
ginger. Those are very healthy spices anyways, right?
Yeah.
So that's another thing we started to support them.
Mhm.
And then we met Mr. Matthews, who he quit corporate job, and he said, where is this world going? I mean, with corporate, yes, one way, but what about the farming? If nobody really does that, then we are going to be left with no food going forward, right? So he moved from corporate to Tekadi, near Tekadi, where he has his farm,
Mm.
where cardamom grows by itself. You don't really need to do anything there. The
Yeah.
soil is so fertile,
That's
right?
awesome.
So we went and saw him, his mud house, beautiful, so sustainable, and all that. And then we went to another in Erode. We met with this Mr. Sundaram Iyer. He's 82 years old, and he's teaching everybody around him how to organically farm,
Nice.
giving them what kind of fertilizers they should use, like cow dung, cow urine,
Food compost.
Mhm.
Vermicompost.
Yeah,
Grows
vermicompost. So
everything on his own.
amazing. He and his wife, they're giving their life to do organic farming, right? So we want to support them. And so that's how we met with these incredible people in India. So it's not like we wanted to start in India, nothing like that. We wanted to like open up
Mhm.
and look at everything, anybody around the world.
Yeah.
But it so happened that it started off in India.
Started off.
Yeah. And then, like Shri said, everything we'll think of, like that's a beautiful example, right? There's a headlight in a dark place, 10 feet, and every time we hit the 10 feet, we something else will come up by itself.
Right.
Nothing planned.
Nice.
Like arrambam,
Yeah.
that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And we would just continue to like persuade a little bit more, and then it will happen, the next step will happen. So
Right.
that's how our journey has been for us.
That's
So what and Shri, of course, is an excellent planner. She can organize, and I used to be that way, but with so many things happened in my life with my health that I stopped doing that, and I started looking at things just the next 10 days,
Right.
or sometimes just today.
Yeah.
So that way we are very, very well aligned. So she plans long term and I plan for the day, and which is a very good balance.
Of
It's
course.
an important thing when you have a organization, when you have partners like this.
Right.
It's important to have like both
Mhm.
perspective, right?
Yeah.
So that's how we sort of grew so much, and the opportunity we will take it up, whether we succeed or not. That there is nothing like success. For us, success is if we are moving forward with whatever we are doing with
Yeah.
Prana Kitchens. That's our success.
That's
Yeah, like doing a podcast with you now is a huge success. This will turn into something else,
right. Of
right?
course, of
So
course.
that's
Yeah.
how we look at it.
I mean, yeah, we see this as an opportunity to share your story and Prana Kitchen's story
Yeah.
to the community, but hopefully more people beyond the community also see it.
Absolutely,
too.
absolutely.
We want more people to take this up and take this forward. Not just this. Prana Kitchens is nothing like Aruna and Shri.
Yeah.
We don't own anything in this world.
Yeah.
We are like puppets.
We're stewards.
We're
stewards.
Yeah. We're just, that can be a negative connotation, right? Like that's not the way it should be. It should be positive. So yeah, we are generally, we've been assigned something to do.
Yeah.
And we want more people to show interest, more people to start something like this. It should be more like a movement.
Right.
So we want to see people do something in not just in Georgia and Virginia, but in New Jersey, in New York, in Seattle, or any place that you name. If people can take it up and do something, go to a farmer's market, talk to people about healthy living,
Right.
and what is good for you and how you can prepare some of those things.
Yeah.
And sometimes they take 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes of your time, and that will become a muscle memory.
Yeah.
Like it'll just be part of your life.
Right.
It will be set as part of your life, right?
Yeah.
That's how it's. I had a lot of health issues. I used to, a long time back, eat like a lot of cereals and this and that, which she was very good at making things and eating, and she would sort of share that information with
Right.
people, and that's how we learned. He said, "Oh my God, you should stop doing this." So the idea is, if you can, whatever you're eating, right? If you can put it in a soil, and if it can give life, then that's what you should eat, because that's what gives you life. That's what makes your prana better in your body, right?
Yeah.
So anything that cannot grow like that is not something you want to eat. Is the idea.
Yeah.
I know it's hard sometimes. Some days you have to compromise, but majority of the time, let's say 40%, and then maybe 50, 60. Slowly, you can do like baby steps rather than leaps and bounds, right?
Right.
So that's the idea. So we thought with this, we're still not compromising on shortcuts, but you're still making, but in shorter time with the help of all the spices. Yeah.
You guys have made it easy, right?
That's
the
exactly
best part,
it.
Exactly.
That's
right?
exactly
It's
it.
easy to eat healthy.
Yes.
I think that's so true. It's like before it wasn't. It's like the reason unhealthy eating habits came about is because it became so easy.
Yeah.
Right. But I really liked what you said of the, hey, if it can't grow and it's not tangibly growing, then you shouldn't be eating that to grow. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. So what does that look like now? So you guys have created these products. You guys are selling in this website, like online, but also farmers markets.
Farmers markets,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So for us, I think I would say we are still very much in the discovery phase.
Mhm.
Still trying to figure out what does the world need, or what do people need? Where do we fit in that can make a material difference? The reception to our products has been phenomenal. I would say it's been unwaveringly positive. That said, I think there's just the way we live today. There's the thought of cooking is still gives people some pause. They think it's tough. Some people are intimidated because they've not done it.
Right.
So we want to debunk some of those myths, saying, hey, it's not hard. You may not get the perfect restaurant, like you have your favorite restaurant where you get the best dosa ever. When you make it at home the first time, it may not be that, but there is a certain, Aruna's word is good, muscle memory that you develop after a while.
Right.
But more importantly, I think the way with spices and some of these things, it's easy to enhance the flavors. And once you get into the habit of doing that, we believe there's no turning back. I think our kids, they are some of our biggest customers, because now they are like, we get regular requests saying, I'm out of rasam, can you get me
rasam
some,
powder,
or can you get us some garam masala? They always ask for some of the staples, but which is fine. But I think it's just a matter of where you start. And so going back to your question, I think we're still in the discovery, saying what works and what is not. We know all our products are good, but we still want to see what makes a difference in people's lives. So we have our spice blends, which is what you're seeing here. We also have the single origin spices that we've launched, which is directly going to our direct, I would say, yes, we are there, but really we want the farmer's name to be the one that is recognized when you see the bottle. So we have it called Shashwat Cardamom, which comes directly from Mr. Matthews' farm. Liju pepper, it comes from his farm. So that's our other line.
Nice.
And
and SRS farm turmeric, which comes from Sundaramayer Mama's
Nice.
farm.
Nice.
So we want people to know that this is the farmer I'm getting my turmeric
of course,
from.
of course.
And if people ask us where these farms are, we're like, we'll give you the address. Go meet them.
Yeah,
like,
you can
go
check it out.
please check it out.
That's cool.
And that's how we got sold, saying that
Right.
like they don't have the ability to come here, so we are their, I would say, their vehicle to bring the products to the customers here. But that's our second product line. One of the things we go to the farmers markets, and one of the things that we've most often been asked for is like, why don't you make the foods that you're giving us as samples?
Yeah.
So we're trying to figure out, like, we don't want to be in the business of making food, because we ultimately believe that nobody can cook as well for yourself as you. Like, Hari, when you wake up in the morning, you showed us like your kitchen. You're like, I have my thing. I make these few things. I know I like it. It works for me.
Right.
No matter how well others cook, short of your mother probably, or your parents, you grew up a certain way. You have your own thing. So we believe that ultimately what you cook is probably what is best for you.
Mm-hmm.
But that said, we had so much demand for a quick snack, a healthy food. During the holidays, we launched our spiced nuts.
Nice.
So we said we wanted to be healthy. We won't give you anything that's super processed, that's not good for you. So we're like, okay, what's a good healthy snack? Like nuts. We love nuts. And we found out from our Ayurveda doctor, Dr. Lal, who said that, hey, nuts are great, but sometimes nuts are hard to digest. But if you spice them, it actually helps it break down faster. Okay. So spiced nuts are actually healthier to eat
than just regular nuts.
Regular nuts.
Incredible.
So unless you soak them, and there's other things you could do, but people that want them as a snack, it's a good way to bridge that.
Okay, so spiced
nuts better than normal nuts. Okay. So we launched our spiced nuts line, which was, again, it was a resounding success. So now we're trying to figure out, how do you narrow our niche? Are we doing all of the products? We have about 23 products now. And we know that we need to narrow the focus and see which ones do we do. Do we do all of them? Do we do some of them? Yeah. Some have been easier to promote just because you're familiar. Garam masala, chai masala, everybody knows. But showing people how to use vata korambu is hard, because unless you grew up with vata korambu, you don't know what it is.
You don't even know what it
exactly.
Like,
what it tastes like. Now, some people are very creative. We've had some amazing stories of customers who have bought it and say, like, you know what, I tried, and they come back and they're teaching us, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Exactly. Do you give them recipes, like how to cook it, or is the recipes on?
We have recipes on our website. We're constantly.
We have recipe cards. Actually,
we have recipe cards also that we give. Our products, all of our bottles and products have QR codes, which will take you to the product page, which have recipes. Right. Mm-hmm. One of the things we're working on is actually creating video content of recipes.
Yeah, of course.
It's something that, again, it's not part of our muscle memory, so we cook like that, but cooking and taking video,
it's something that it doesn't
it's not in our
strike us.
We're like, oops, missed opportunity. But so
after cooking, I'll realize, oh my god, I could have taken a picture of this. This is an easy recipe that people can follow.
So that's what we're working on. So some of the things so that's where we are today. We're still trying to figure out where we take this. But as of now, we're just saying, because the reception has been positive, we have not ruled out anything.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, you guys, really what it is, I see that you guys are doing is just sharing the story, right, of what you're doing, the Prana Kitchens, the ethos, the mission, and the vision. I think that's what sells, right, in some regard of, like, people want to buy into that.
Right.
And people want to, okay, I want to live like that, or I want to do this. And they're like, okay, how do you do that? Here are some ways to take that. So that's incredible. That's really, really nice.
The couple of other things that are sort of very important is that when you cook, your actually digestion starts right there, because you smell the food, you're feeling it, you're feeling the vegetables, you're feeling everything, and your body is like preparing. Your body is preparing you to eat that food. Okay, that you're not going to find when you go and eat in a restaurant or when you order food from outside. One. The other thing that my grandmother and all our grandmothers feel, how long as a food is being sitting outside? How do you know? When you do it, you know when you've cooked it, right? So, like in a restaurant, they're saying I'm selling the freshest or whatever food, but you don't know when they've cooked, or when they make those masalas, do they freeze it? Refrigerate. In fact, when we learn serve safe, there is so much that whole exam We felt that our grandmothers actually taught us just that.
It's a food safety certification we have to go
You
through.
know, yeah. And our
And it's, yeah.
grandmothers exactly
Wow.
taught that. They would not leave certain, even in the fridge when you store different things, they had like how you have to store them in the
Okay.
serve set, and that's exactly what they followed back in India, like
Right.
in the fridge, or in if you leave it outside,
Yeah.
how long will this stay fresh, things like this, right?
Yeah.
So I'm saying, like, when we do it as a part of a course, we sort of believe it.
Right.
But when our ancestors actually taught us exactly that, we thought it was old fashioned.
Right.
Right?
Of course.
So both of us, we sort of feel that whatever they had practiced then is what we are supposed to be practicing now.
Right.
So cooking for yourself, so that way you know what oil you're using, what ingredients are going in there, is it organic, and how long has it been. And food actually stays fresh for 4 to 6 hours. Anything beyond that, you're just eating food, yes, but it doesn't have any nutrition in it.
No
Right.
prana.
No
That's
prana.
the name that we give. Prana.
Right.
That's why there the
Life
prana
force
thing,
energy. Yeah.
life
That's
force
awesome.
energy came.
That's
Yeah. So then what's the point in like feeding yourself with something that has no energy,
Right.
right?
Yeah. That's true.
So these are some things that we learned a hard way, with a lot of health problems that I faced when I was growing. I mean, after moving to this country, right?
Right.
So, and I overcame not with medical intervention, because I didn't want to. I didn't want to have surgery. I
Yeah.
wanted to do this just with food, with
Yeah.
my lifestyle, with yoga, with
Right.
whatever our ancestors have practiced and what they've taught us. And it has worked.
That's
Miraculously worked.
That's incredible.
Right? Every step of the way things have worked. And if you ask me, when I was in my 30s and 35, I felt like I was in my 60s. And now I'm in 50, I feel like I'm in 20. That's the kind of mind, the energy and the positivity that you feel.
Right.
And with like-minded people, right? You get energized more, right? So those are some of the important things we want to sort of partake with the next generation. That's why we want to focus on younger, like,
Yeah.
Arrambam.
Arrambam, yes,
Of course.
exactly.
Invest in your health and invest in it today.
Right.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
so talk us through the science behind this, right? I think it's been, like you said, it's been said. I think the biggest missing piece is when it's been said before is there's no explanation why. And usually the disconnect is not hey, we don't agree with what you're saying. It's we don't understand. And I think in the world we live in today, everyone wants to understand why things are the way they are. And if you don't understand, then you're like, I'm not going to follow it, right? That's the initial kind of take, right, that most people have. So walk us through what is like from your point of view, from what you've learned through your life and what you're doing with Prana. It's like, what is the science behind like eating, the daily living, and all that?
Let me ask you a very simple question. Like, take two foods that you eat. One that, like, tell me which food makes you feel the best.
Two foods that I eat.
Oh, just one. Like, just take one.
Yeah.
You eat something and you're like, wow, I feel incredible. What would that be for you?
I mean, honestly, yeah. Like, I think
And don't anything. It doesn't have to be like the acceptable.
Yeah. I mean, I think the things that I feel the best after are definitely like mom's food or food that I cook at home, right? Even if it's like if I just compare like a pancake I buy at the store versus if I'm just like making the flour myself and just making a pancake, it feels better after that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's true, but it's like for sure my favorite is definitely like there's rice sambar and some muruku or something on the side is like the way I go, or bundi or something.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. So
a true South Indian at heart.
It's true South Indian.
Yeah. So and what food makes you feel ew?
Dal.
Like very like oily foods, very heavy like foods. Honestly, like at that point, like I love dosa, I love parota, but I don't really like puri and even chapati sometimes. It just feels so oily to me, and just like I don't feel good coming out of those meals there. Yeah.
So Ayurveda, at least what we follow, is just you paying attention to what is right for you. So there is the science behind this is actually what is right for you. All it's saying is just pay attention to what is suiting or suitable for you.
Right.
The one thing that very, it's a huge stress. Like I would say, it's emphasized repeatedly is there's no such thing as good for everybody. Today we're caught in this world of food fads and these superfoods, and somebody says quinoa is good, like the entire world is having quinoa, and somebody says, oh, moringa is good, and like everybody now, moringa is like, people are exporting moringa in the tons out of India. So yes, it's true, they all have health benefits, they're definitely better than other foods, no questions asked. But truly what Ayurveda says is what you should eat is what makes you feel good. And what makes you feel good, only you can assess, right? Foods that make you feel energized and you have your mind is alert, your body feels light, you're not in a slump. Those are foods that are good for you. And foods that make you the converse are foods that you shouldn't be having too much of it. And that would vary from different people. Like even your own family, you could ask different people and you would say, you all maybe grew up with sambar and rice and that, but some people would be like, oh, I can't have too much of that, I want, so like you have those. And that comes down to your unique constitution and what is right for you. So a lot of food, I think, is what we've not been doing now, is either abandoning that, like what works for me at all, or doing what is working for somebody else. So the science behind this is just pay attention to how you feel after you eat a meal, and then do more of it. Yes, there are things to it that we also stress, that even if something makes you feel good, pay attention to where it was grown, how it's coming, where it's coming from, who's cooking it. There is a difference. Like when you said mom's food is made with love, right? Like it's made with unconditional pouring of love and affection into it. And there may not be science to back this up today, but there is a definite, like nobody will tell you that my mom's food is like it doesn't have something special, right? So the fact that so many billions of us are saying that means there is something to that. So that is pretty much the science behind it. Now, why spices? Because not all spices are good for everybody, right? So that is again something you have to pay attention to. That's why we don't use too much of the red chili heat, because that is not suitable for everyone. So
people get mouth sores.
You'll get mouth. Some people will get mouth sores. Some people need it. Some people need it, but other people will react differently
I've been
to
eating a lot less spicy.
Correct.
It like aggravates my sinuses.
Exactly.
My allergies act up.
So you're paying attention to how you feel.
See,
so that's like
important.
perfect. So
in fact, there's a quick thing. If I'm gonna, Dr. Lal explained to me when I asked him what is Ayurveda. He said, okay, in a cold weather, you will find people either dressed up fully, like from head to toe, covering the entire body, right? Because they feel extremely cold. But some people you might find walking in shorts. In school, right? I mean, you would have.
I walk in shorts.
So you don't feel the cold, right? But whereas your mom, for instance, she would probably be completely dressed up,
fully
right? With the jacket and headgears and everything. So that's actually Ayurveda, right there. Some people like to get wet in the rain. Some don't like to get wet in the rain. So it's just what is suitable and what is not suitable. That's
pretty much it. And I think the second facet to that is there's a tight relationship between us and the environment that we live in.
I wanted Shri to explain that because she's done a lot of study with Ayurveda, so she'll be a really good. She'll give you a nice example of how the pancha, how it's related to your body and your earth. Yes.
So you do just a good, just as good a job. So yes, what is good for you, and then what is your relationship with the environment. Now what Aruna was referring to is there's the concept of the 5 elements, right? Like that's all around us, and the human body is a manifestation of the same 5 elements that you find in the world around you. So which is why there's different, we all come together in different unique ways of these same 5 elements, which is why, like to Aruna's example, some people feel cold, some people feel heat more, some people tolerate humidity, others don't. So that's all a matter of our individual constitutions. So, and paying attention to that, so seasonal variations, fluctuations in by the weather, age, time of day, all of those things impact our bodies. And because of the way, like now when the sun is shining, you feel differently when compared to when it's raining. So just paying attention to the foods, the environment, and we are the bridge that, like, where all of it interacts.
Mhm.
So knowing that is actually pretty much all that goes into our food. That's the science behind it. Now you can go into this scientifically, and you'll find lots of things about gut health and how does what you eat have a impact on your gut biome, and how there's there's a gut brain connection,
Right.
and how that impacts your mental health. Like, you can go that route, you can go the spiritual route, and then say, I feel energetically different, I'm more positive.
Yeah.
So take your path, take your pick, or take both. I think we both tend to do a bit of both. Our upbringing has allowed us to integrate them both together. So the science behind that is pretty much that. So, and we can go deeper into this. There's papers that you can read that tells you about this. There's spiritual leaders who talk a lot about this. But it all comes down to, we believe you're what you eat.
Mhm.
And when food is good, you probably don't need any medicines.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because actually, our Vedas and Upanishads, they all talk about it. All of this,
Mhm.
the food. So if you see Ayurveda, Ayu, life, Veda is knowledge, right? So it's life knowledge,
Yeah.
basically, right? So it all came from our sages, basically. Incredible, like how to control your body, mind, your spirit, how and they had a very good system, which sort of, if you go a little bit deeper into the spirituality part of it, you sort of learn quite a bit about all that, and how that can be really, how you can bring that into your life, into what you eat, how you live, how you interact with people. So what I have noticed, at least in my life, is that when I made these changes in my food habits, like even my mindset, like trusting other people, or like general well-being of my body and my mind and my health,
Yeah.
and having more patience with people, like we call it like 10 dharmic values, right? Like, how can you control your mind, your body, your sense organs? How do you about truth, about trusting people? All that changed. At one point, I was always afraid about something. I don't know what it was, right? Afraid about, like, generally about things. But the way you eat now, the way it changes. And I can see an incredible change in myself, with more patience, openness, giving freedom to people to do what they want, and not restricting. Like, for instance, now I'm learning, I tell myself every day that my younger daughter lives with me, and I there are some things she would like to do independently. It shouldn't be like constant behind her trying to do this, do that.
Because you have the business to run, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You
Business to
gotta-
run too. Yes, people.
Yeah, of course.
So we know where the boundary is, and what pushes, like we should push the right buttons, right? So for to even to, what do you call it, even to practice some of those, I feel that the food and the way we are living life is helping. So and that and getting angry at people, like, and I notice now, especially in Atlanta, like people are, their life has become so busy that they like in the highway they do zigzag, and they get into
road
these
rage
huge
and
road,
stuff.
road, and I'm like, what is it that we are going to lose, like, for 10 minutes of your time in the morning? Come on.
not
That's,
even. Sometimes it's
not
one car
even-
distance.
Exactly.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
Yeah.
So that kind of calmness, the
Right.
peace, all that happens with food. With food, with spirituality, with yoga, with your lifestyle, right? So every morning, like Dr. Lal, he says, every morning when you wake up, you want to sit in your bed for 10 minutes. Give yourself the time. And he says, think for yourself. What do you want to do today?
Yeah.
Right? What do you want to do today? How do you want to do it? And how do you start? And how do you plan? And do it. Do whatever you can.
Yeah.
Something doesn't happen, it's okay.
It's your own stand up in the morning and a retro in the evening,
exactly.
right? That's pretty much, that's actually it. It's actually called Sharira Chinta.
Okay.
It means just paying introspection of the body. But modern day, it's a stand up. Like, you stand up and think, okay, what are you going to do today? What worked yesterday? What is pending from yesterday? Pretty much that's the same thing that
And also taking reflection of like your body, your mental energies, and where you're at. What do you need?
That's exactly
And
it.
same thing when you before going to bed,
Prioritizing
sit for like
it,
10 minutes and say, hey, what really worked for you today?
Right.
And what did not work for you?
Yeah.
Maybe the thing that did not work for you, let's not repeat it again. Not necessary in our life, right?
Of course.
So, but then this road rage, what are we really achieving anything by that, right?
Yeah.
We're losing on quality of our own, whatever well-being, our life, people around us. What is important? That trust, that love, that interaction, that community is more important than anything else.
Right.
Once you have that, everything else is like, and then do something that really makes you happy. I mean, it doesn't have to be the norm, what everybody calls it. There's no norm, really, right? It's what you want.
Yeah, of course.
So those are some things we want to like sort of emphasize and say that try some of those things, and it really helps.
It will. It's I think if anything, I think you can say for sure that it actually positions you better for even the accepted norms of success. But truly, I think it redefines what is important to you. So.
And not only it's very infectious, I would call it, because when you do it as an individual, people around you see it and they do it. You probably don't even notice that, but they do it. Some change, maybe not completely like how you're doing, but something that's worked for them, right? Like I have noticed in my own, like both my kids, right? Even Shree's both sons. Some things that what we did, while the last 20 years has helped them like create their own sort of a schedule. Some things are what is important and where do you need to give priority to what and what not, things like that. So food is one thing they'll never compromise, that we've noticed with all. In fact, my younger one, people say, oh, in college I don't have time, but she went 3 years of college. She did very well educational wise, but she would cook morning and she would cook in the evening. And she had the time. She made the time for it. Yeah. She made the time.
Nothing fancy. They made it very simple, but it was something, whatever she cooked. Yeah.
It'll be a khichdi. It'll be just one koote. It'll be just
I think she's our best customer because she's tried all of our products.
You guys, I think you told me the story that when you guys were starting with this, you would send it to her in
exactly.
London.
In London, exactly.
Yeah. And she would come back and say, "Hey, Shri Mami, I made this today and it came out really good."
She's like, "Oh, I made sesame stir fry rice with yellow podi and it was incredible." And I'm like, "Oh, cool! That's a new idea to try, like a stir."
Right?
And she would actually put the bata korambu in potato fries. Like make potato, like baked potato or baked any
and it's incredible. Actually, it tastes really good.
It's like everyone does Cajun fries or whatever.
Exactly.
Mine
or bata crumble fries. Yeah.
And she made simple things like which anybody can. So it'll take her like she'll do some prep work. The previous night she'll cut vegetables. She'll keep them in her instant pot. She had a nice instant pot.
Okay.
She'll set it all up in her instant pot. Like, soaking rice overnight is a good thing actually. It'll help with your digestion. So she'll soak the rice overnight. So that way it is sort of nice and soaked, so it cooks fast. And then she'll cook it in the morning. And while she's eating her morning breakfast, she'll cook her lunch. And then she'll pack it and take it with her. So it was a very, and a lot of people who were living around her, and they started feeling the positive energy, they started following them as well. So what I'm saying is, it's important
change
that
can start really small.
Exactly.
And it's infectious.
That
energy is infectious.
Yes, it is.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Nice. So that's like amazing to hear, right? Because it's not just the food; it's a lifestyle. But you guys have started with food. You started here, and you started with this science behind how to eat healthy. I'm curious. Do you have a sense of where does it go from here? Is there ideas beyond just food at this point, or
we would love to do cooking classes.
Okay, yeah, of course.
Because we think going back to what we said a little while, we want to debunk the myth that cooking is hard or cooking takes time.
Right.
I think we're going to do it today, right? With you, we're going to do some cooking, and so hopefully you'll get to see. You're already cooking, so you're probably not even the people that we have to truly go after, but we want to definitely spread the word about cooking. We want to That's on the consumer end.
Right.
On the farm, the community end, we want to expand. We started with India, but we know foods are everywhere, so we're looking to see how we can grow the number of people that we support and where we can bring source directly from them and make sure that we're improving just the trade of food. If we can remove ourselves out and there's just the ecosystem that functions well, then fabulous. But right now, I think we still believe we have a role to
You
play
guys are
here.
like the activators. You're activating
Right.
the
Exactly.
fact that
Exactly.
we from here can connect with
Exactly.
farmers. I mean, in India in this case, but anywhere. Potentially.
I
around
love
the
that.
world.
I think we're going to use that from here.
You
We're
guys are
activators. Yeah.
Activators, yeah.
We are totally the activators. Yeah. We were calling ourselves the stewards, but I like activators.
Activators. Yeah. I like. That's the term I use. And for the students that we're teaching them. So yeah, you guys are activators.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
That's wonderful. Thank you for giving us another
Of course.
another role and another title.
Yeah, absolutely. So now what I'm curious about is we've gone through the Prana founding journey, right? Where how you guys came about is went through this, right? And then of course what the science behind this everything is. Like I want to know more about you both, right? And you both as the founders, but also as mothers, as wives, as like leaders in your community in different ways, taking this forward. Like, what's both of your stories? And you said you've told me where you met, but would love for you to share that story. How did that come about?
Sure.
And then you said you work in corporate, and then you've been, my understanding is moving around, working, doing a lot of different things. Would love to hear the story from both of your sides.
You go first.
Okay, so like I said, we met in Brandeis, right? And
Doing your
masters, yeah.
Masters,
I did
okay.
masters in computer science, and she also was in the same program. So we
Nice.
took a lot of classes together, actually, 1 year.
Okay.
Because she went 1 year early, and
Nice.
and then so like my father was a incredible cook.
Mhm.
My brother loves to cook. My family is like a foodie. My older daughter is another incredible cook. She also was a pastry chef vegan pastry chef for a short time.
Oh, nice.
She likes to try everything.
Cool.
And my husband loves food. He likes to eat good food. My younger daughter is also like, we are all big foodies, right?
Yeah.
So my grandmother, I don't know from where she got this, but when we got married, so she told my husband when he came to see me or something, she said, Aruna can actually, if you call 100 people, she can cook for 100 people. I've never done it before. But I don't know why she said
That's a selling point.
so everywhere I go, I generally love people. Like I like to always have people around me.
Yeah.
Right? So my first thing is if I want to interact with somebody else, first thing I would ask is, hey, do you want to come for lunch or do you want to come for dinner?
Yeah.
And I would make the food.
Right.
And I love making food.
Yeah.
So that's how so there was this, if you're not a computer science person, then you might not know this. There is this great computer scientist. His name is Alfred Aho.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote operating systems. Like he wrote that book actually. Ullman and they did that together. So he used to work for a company in New Jersey where my husband also worked for, and my husband is like very cautious about inviting people over, but I have no fear. I just call people, whether they are like,
who says no to food, right?
Yeah,
Like,
of course.
For me,
food.
for me, they are like, they say that they're like some senior something in the company, or whether they're president, or it doesn't matter to me, right?
Yeah.
I just call people.
Yeah.
So he helped me in something like identifying some schools, because he was a board of director for some schools. So I sort of talked to him about it, and then I said, hey, would you like to come over for dinner?
Yeah.
And he accepted. Right?
Okay.
He's very gracious, right?
Nice.
He accepted.
Yeah.
He and his wife came over, and my KK just was so worried, so afraid.
KK's your
husband, yeah. And he's like, why would you call him over?
Pressure to perform.
So, but then we had such a wonderful time. He came over, and that's when I just started cooking and everything. So, but I was very true to what my grandmother sort of represented me.
You can cook for 100 people.
Yes,
She
exactly.
can cook for 100 people, eyes
Was
closed.
it 100 people at the same time, or 100 people like individually?
No,
This is
100
what your grandma meant.
Like if you call it, if it's a feast for 100
It's a
people,
feast for
she can
100
go.
people.
People I can
Okay.
do that. And I used to do that for all my daughters' birthdays and everything. So I did start as a computer science developing like a programmer after my master's at Fidelity. But soon enough I realized that there was just way too much, like handling that, home front, kids. So I quit my job. And then, but like I said, I love people. And a very good friend of mine said, and I also like to sing. So she said, why don't you start like a sloka class? So for our neighborhood children. So I started doing some of those things. So, so we had like a very successful, it's still going on in Massachusetts, like an acting sloka class. So about 100 kids come there. We teach them spirituality, about what is important,
Stories.
and stories and slokams and all that. And then I would do, like, I had my own little company, did odd jobs here and there. So that's how I keep myself quite occupied. And of course food was like a huge, like I said, I tried different, because soon my younger one couldn't eat lactose, like she was in, milk, dairy products like cheese and milk. So then I started making at home, like baked things at home. No white sugar. We don't do white sugar. Any baked goods outside has a lot of white sugar in it. So then we started making things at home. So I started experimenting quite a bit. And food was always like a huge thing. And so when Shri said food, anything food related, I was in already. My mind was already there. In fact, in Massachusetts, when I was there, I did look at doing like a lunch box, like how we do it back in India. Like you can, the dabba wala, right?
Have you
Like,
seen? Do you know the
have you
dabba
seen the
walas
dabba
of
wala?
Bombay?
No.
Oh,
Oh,
it's very interesting, right?
Like just tiffin boxes or no?
Oh, you should just go look
Google,
up dabba walas of
Yeah.
Bombay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They are. Nothing I say will justify. You just have to go look at it.
Yeah. And it's like what they do is they collect food from people's home and they deliver it to like
Their workplaces and
workplaces
schools.
and schools, right? But fresh and hot food. So that's something we wanted to do back in Massachusetts. But again, Sri was not there.
Yeah.
So that's a huge thing,
That's
right?
a huge factor.
Yeah,
Right?
because all the planning it's all
Nice.
so it didn't really materialize, but eventually those were some of the things I was exploring anyways. And then we would cook for a pantry, make boxes and sort of give it, especially vegan food, because vegan food was not that very popular then, right? A lot of people didn't know how to make vegan food, whereas South Indian food is all vegan food.
Of course.
If you look at it, right? Most of them vegan, gluten free.
Right.
So that aspect of it was something that I enjoy doing. So teaching kids cooking, and then with all the health problems that I had, and how I was able to cure myself with Ayurveda, with proper healthy living. Those were very, very motivating factors. Like, and people would come and ask you, like, how did you lose weight? How did you go back to where you started, and how are you able to balance your? And I said, I didn't go to it's not like if you're interested in going to a gym and working out for like hours, that's your passion, that's great. But even if you don't have that passion, there are different things that you can still do at home that you feel good, and it'll make you feel, you look good, right? So some of those things, how we can, people would come and ask you, and then I'd say, hey, and then when Shri said this was an opportunity to show people, right? Like how we can do some of those. Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
So,
That's incredible.
I don't know if I covered whatever you had in mind about.
And then and then you jumped into Prana Kitchens.
Yes, jumped right into Prana Kitchens, and then I loved trying the poddies and making different things.
That's awesome.
Our farmers market, I completely enjoy. Not just me, my husband loves the farmers market. Very great, extreme support. I mean, he feels that this is your passion, and you've there is so many things that, not that I could have gone back to corporate world. It's not like I nobody stopped me from, but I think my passion was more in, I still love programming. Believe me, some of these, Shri will say, hey, you don't need to create all those Canva images or like you don't need it. We'll outsource it. No, Shri, I'll do it.
She's very creative. A lot of the designs
That's
and everything
I
she
love
she's
doing all
she's a very
that.
good creative eye.
Nice.
But like I get that's the greatest thing about Prana Kitchens,
Yeah.
right? You get to do what you love, creating this, and we know like she and I, we are like, we're not trying to like become some great whatever celebrity or whatever, right? No. So ours is very grounded. We put our energy and time into what we really like to do, and of course social media is a great way to do it. Not our huge thing,
Not
but
our
still,
forte, but
yeah, but it's okay. I mean,
Part of sharing the story
Yeah,
and sharing
exactly.
the journey.
Yeah.
We're creating the content like
Yes.
this that hopefully
Yeah.
we'll be creating it later today.
Yes. Yeah.
And that'll be good, and everyone will be seeing that at some point in time.
So all the design work, the completely enjoyed doing all of that.
That's awesome.
And then Prana Kitchens is like a true passion,
Yeah.
like a passion project.
That's
Yes,
awesome.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So there's a lot of positive energy in there.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I sensed it when we first started talking.
Yeah.
Always. That's incredible.
Yeah.
For sure.
Even while making these spices, we chant. I love singing. I chant my favorite. That really makes me a different person. But that energy goes into the making this. So and we want that people to get that energy when they eat it, when they cook it, when they eat it. That's the idea behind it.
Yeah, very positive energy. And it's like mother's food is cooked with love. So this is cooked with love and life and all the energy positive.
Exactly.
Nice. That's incredible. Sweet.
Yeah.
Love to hear your story.
Oh
as
yes,
well.
I was so engrossed in that. I was like, so my story is again where we overlapped and everything. I would say branched off is I fully stepped into the corporate world after I graduated. I started working immediately after and went through various sectors. I was in Oracle. I worked for a consulting company. Then I went into the hospitality sector. I worked in higher education, all doing tech. So I learned how tech has a role to play in so many sectors. Right. We both graduated in 95 and 96 and 97. So this was like back when Google wasn't a thing, right? Yeah. So like there was no search engines were just coming up. So we got to see firsthand or got to shape some of the tech that we see today, right? So incredibly grateful for the journey that taught us so much and gave us a chance to be part of what we see today as a tech success story. So all through in tech, I also made a niche where I went into architecture, like software architecture for many years, and again saw that in like what kind of a role we had to play in even like transportation. I worked for Avis, and where we actually put connected cars, like everything that the cars right now send information back to. Like this was back when a few years ago, where cars are outfitted with sensors that tell you everything from where it is, what's the tire pressure, what is the outside temperature, fuel levels, did somebody check in, check out. So like we got to do some really cool stuff. So I did all that. All that has been a huge part of my life and a building block to get me where I am. And without that, I don't think I would have enjoyed, like having that background allowed me to carry some of those skills in here.
Absolutely.
But I think the part that Prana Kitchens gives me that I don't think towards the later part I started craving more is the things that Aruna mentioned. The creativity, the freedom to do things the way you want to. And there's always things that even here in Prana Kitchens, I would say, like there are things that we're like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that, but you just have to do it, right? Bookkeeping and some of those things they are necessary. You may not enjoy it the most, but there are things that you can focus your energy on that definitely make a difference in us waking up and saying with excitement and saying like, I know what I'm doing today. So I think, but all through my life, I would say I'm mother, daughter, sister, has seen our share of health and related, I would say, incidents and occurrences in our lives where food has made a difference. Things we have been able to, like Aruna her story is a inspiring one where doctors are telling you to do one thing and she was like, hell no, I'm not doing that. I'm going to take matters into my own hands. And that takes a lot of courage.
Yeah.
And you could say that, oh, that's Aruna, like that's special, that's what she did. I know of other people that have done that. Yes, it took courage from every one of them, but the common piece is courage to say that I know what is right for me, I'm going to do that. And a commitment to staying the course and saying, like, I'm going to stick to this and I know it'll make a difference.
Yeah.
And seeing it make a difference.
Of course.
So that gave us all the validation that what we're doing can positively impact people's health.
Mhm.
So, and when we see our kids, when we see what people do today, and we're hearing this again when we go and talk to people, there are many people that come and say, I feel different when I eat differently, when I invest in this. So it gives us hope that we're in the right direction. But I have no regrets. Like, I know I quit. I'm one of those. I'm a statistic. I think I was one of the, during just post-pandemic, you heard a whole bunch of things like how women were quitting the corporate world,
Right.
and they were like going back into their doing things that really mattered to them. So I'm a true statistic. I was one of those people. Just when the
You're
news
just like, screw
came
the
out,
corporate world.
yep, I'm like, okay, I'm done.
That's
I'm
awesome.
leaving. And my husband was like, hey, look, like this is people like you are making news today. You're apparently, there's numbers behind what you're doing. But that actually, I think, is a reason for us to pause, saying that there's something about the way we all work and live that is not giving us a sense of purpose. And so if somebody were to say, like, I know we were talking before, like, what do we want to do? Like, what if other people want to do it and you're doing it? I'm sure you have an equally inspiring reason for doing what you're doing. But I think it just comes to the point of just asking yourself, what do we want to do, and what is it that we can? And I would just say one additional step, which is very true of arrambam too, is it's not just about what you want to do. It's like, what can I do that is of use or impact to the society, like a service.
Right.
So I think that calling came to us in Prana Kitchens, and it's been an amazing journey. I don't know where it'll take us,
Yeah.
but I don't think it bothers us anymore. Like, a past version of me would have been freaked out, saying, "Oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to do next year." Like, but now I know I'm just enjoying the journey.
You're doing it for the journey, not
Doing it for the
not
journey,
destination,
yeah.
right?
And for that, I do have to be thankful to the preparation that we got, like the years that are behind us, that has prepared us for that.
Set you up for this.
Set us up for
moment.
this
Corporate
moment,
world
exactly.
helps in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
You need to know how to work with people. You need to. There's so many positive things that comes along. So
Yeah.
just without all that, it's very hard.
Right.
But
right.
that what I'm saying is, life itself will take you through the journey.
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
I see my grandmother, how much knowledge that
Yeah.
she had, right?
Right.
With everything.
Yeah.
That's because life journey takes you through, and whatever you want to do, I think you should do
Mhm.
it. You should try. You
Mhm.
should never say no to it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's incredible.
Everything will teach you
Cute.
something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Something will come out.
Everything leads to something
Yeah.
better.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the process, right? It's like you guys effectively, both of you, in many ways, have reinvented yourselves.
Absolutely.
Over the years,
Yes.
right?
1,000%. Yeah.
Incredible, and you're continuing to invent
Yeah.
new versions through Prana, and I assume other things
Other things.
that'll come about through Prana or other
Yeah.
avenues there. So that's incredible. That's incredible. One of the I think major last questions here is what, given everything you've done, right? What advice would you have for other individuals who are embarking on these non-traditional, I would say, traditional meaning like what we see as, let's say, entrepreneurship or business building today, non-traditional versions, but still really authentic, really powerful versions of business building or creating something. What advice would you have for creators, entrepreneurs, founders like that? How has your journey been, and what would you say to them, or what would you say to yourself when you started? When she called you, would you have still committed in 30 seconds? Or
Absolutely.
absolutely, of course,
With Shri, that's how the relationship.
yes,
So if you have a friend like that,
yeah,
and if you feel that, and then you know what, of course there are differences too. Sometimes I'll be a little stubborn on certain things. Sometimes
Oh,
you
she's
will-
not stubborn. I'm the stubborn one.
but we know each other so well.
right,
what can go wrong?
Of course.
Especially with people that you know very well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's the kind of attitude we've always had. And I know every one of us,
Mhm.
our goal is not to fail.
Yes.
All of our goal is to succeed. So why should we even doubt,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
have any misconceptions? So if you have a partner, grab a partner, and if you have a passion project that you want to do, I think you should do it.
Yeah.
That's one. And the distance shouldn't matter really.
Mhm.
It doesn't. It
Complicates things, but it's
okay.
worth doing it.
Yeah.
Worth giving it a try. Right. That's one. And what I have noticed is that good things happen
Mhm.
when you have a true passion. So if you believe in that, whatever you do, it will succeed. This is what I always. So if you put your heart and soul into that, and then whatever whether outcome can be, there is nothing like positive or a negative outcome.
Okay.
Whatever outcome is will take you to the next step,
Mhm.
next stage of whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I truly believe in that. So it's not like, oh, I sold about 100 products today and that's the highlight of my day. No,
Yeah.
nothing of that kind.
Mhm.
So what really the one story that sort of always I think about it all the time is there was this little girl playing in the beach, and her father is a writer, so he was sitting and writing something while she was doing something there, right? And then slowly he looked up and he saw that she was picking up like one starfish, and I think the water has sort of receded, like gone a little way away from the actual sanded area, right? So she would pick one starfish, go put it in the water. She'll walk all the way back, then pick another one, and she'll put it in the water. And then her father was like, "This is going to take you so long to do this. Like, pick one and drop it, and come back and pick." And, and how is that? What benefit are you getting out of that,
Yeah.
right? So then she said, "It makes a huge benefit for this one starfish." So if we can change one person in our journey, or we can give some comfort, just one person, that's like we've achieved a lot. And that's the kind of attitude that we want to have in this business. If we can make a huge difference in someone's life, we've achieved what we are trying to do. Always think of that story. So even if there is one person in our sloka class that we feel the same, there's one interested child wanting to learn more about our Sanatana Dharma, we are ready to teach.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. So again, it's about that journey that person is taking.
Yes.
It's like the growth, not just like insane amounts of people. It's like, okay, how can we impact it one by one?
Exactly. One by one. And that person will definitely contribute whatever it is. Like they'll pass it on. And then it's that's how life is, right?
Yeah. Of course.
So,
that's incredible.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. What would you say? What advice do you have?
So everything Aruna said, I concur, and that's a beautiful story. Like sometimes it's just a matter of knowing that you matter to that one person.
Yeah.
That gives you the courage to go on. So I think when you read about entrepreneurship, everybody has. I think we study the successful people more. Of course, now I think there's a lot of awareness of those that have failed, or behind every success that you see, there have been multiple failures, or there have been dark moments behind that. I think for us, though, again, that's not how we're measuring success. Success for us is not how big, what's the revenue for this year. That is not how we're measuring success. For us, a success comes down to if you're making a difference in one person's life with their health and one farmer. Like, I think last year we set a goal of saying, if we can impact one farmer, we're good. We actually made 3, so we're good. We're happy we're doing that. But that's not to say that you won't have doubts when you start on this journey. And to that, I would concur with what Aruna says. If you find somebody you trust that you can walk along with, makes a huge difference. Because it's unlikely that we both will be down on the same day. One person is always there to uplift the other. And that makes a huge difference in your courage and your strength to go on. Sometimes you really don't know what you're doing, so you just have to have somebody that says, nope, we're good, let's move. Like, let me pull your hand along today, and tomorrow you'll pull my hand. So that makes a difference. The other thing is to look at failures not as failures. And everybody says this, but until you're doing it, you don't realize it. There's no such thing as a failure. It's just, what have you learned from this? So, and that is an important reminder when things are down, and they are. There have been days that we've stood in farmer's market and it's rained and it's
Not many people
been
there.
like, you don't, like you make maybe 2 sales. And those are moments that you do say like, oh, it's not whether I matter, it's whether what I'm doing, is it working, right? That question comes up. So having that mental narrative that says it's not a failure, it's just a lesson to be learned, and then tomorrow's a new day. You pick yourself up, and then you move on. So having that grit and that determination to say, I'm ready to take another day and move forward. And what I don't want to gloss over on is the impact this could have on your family and finance, right? These things take money, they take effort. So there are people that would say, you have a passion, like exactly what I don't know. You have a passion, just like you go for it. You should, absolutely. But sometimes it's good to know, like have some of that analytics and that thought process to saying, what is it going to take, and be prepared for it.
Right.
So if it takes financial investment, do the due diligence to make sure your finances are in order.
Yeah.
Otherwise, once you get trapped financially, there are different pressures that on those days it may not be so easy for you to anchor on your ethos,
Right.
because it's real, right? Like
Yeah.
what we face, you have to pay rent, you have to ultimately do things. So knowing what it takes and making sure that your business and your finances are in order to help you on the journey is important.
Go out and ask for help.
Yeah, ask for help. Like
Yeah.
that is absolutely key.
Important. Yeah.
If it's totally okay to come back and say, I don't know what I'm doing. And I would say that there have been many days that I'd be like, I have no idea what we're doing here. And knowing at that point that help will come, but you have to ask. That is our responsibility. So yeah, I would say take the step, take the leap of faith, find somebody to walk along with you. Make sure that you see everything as a blessing and a learning opportunity. Make sure that your house is in order for you to be able to do this journey.
Yes.
Otherwise, you cannot go at it for long.
You'll feel a lot of burden on yourself.
Yeah,
That's the
absolutely.
problem, right? And then you won't be able to focus on what is it that.
Yeah, and reach out, like talk to people, learn from them. We'd love to do a reverse interview and like hear about your journey and see what it has taken to bring arrambam to where it is. I'm sure there are moments that you could share too. So I would say it's all about surrounding yourself with like-minded people who are willing to walk this journey or have wisdom to impart on this journey.
And that's exactly why, Hari, when we had this conversation with you, in fact, after the end of the conversation, we said, if we had 1% of Hari's energy, we would be somewhere else.
We're good. Exactly.
Absolutely.
That.
Yeah. Because you're full of energy.
Thank you. That means a lot.
Yeah.
That means a lot.
Yes.
That's what I hope everyone in what they're doing and what they're pursuing has that energy.
Yes.
Takes it through.
I know.
Thank you. That means a lot.
And being open-minded to the possibilities, because
Of course.
one of the things that people ask us, like, what's your favorite product? Like, which one are you, like, is your favorite? It's hard for us to choose because everything is
Everything
dear
is
to us.
unique.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think we're both at the point where we will say that if we need to say, God forbid, like one of them, we have to say, this is not working. We have to do something different because our customers want something different.
Right.
The world demands something different of us. We should be open-minded enough to do that. You cannot be too attached to your idea and your vision. You can be attached to the mission and the purpose, but not the means as much. So.
And that's why we're not attached to the product as such. Yes, the idea behind it. So that's why we want, even if someone else takes it up and does it somewhere else in a different state, we'll be very happy.
We're very happy for it. Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So.
Nice. That's incredible. I mean, I hope this continues to expand this way.
Exactly.
Well, awesome. Thank you for joining us today on the show. Well, we're not done yet because I have a few rapid fire lightning questions
Okay.
to ask you guys. Really fun. But
Okay.
quick. So before we wrap up, so first question is, why is the name Prana Kitchens? Like, I understand the meaning, but how did you guys come about that?
So the idea is we want to give we want people to have that positive, that energy, right? And then because this is it's something that they would be cooking and doing it together, like it's like this prana, the Prana Kitchens is like from us to the kitchens of others.
Yes.
From our kitchens to yours.
Yeah.
Prana from our kitchens to yours.
Okay.
That's what we thought.
Okay.
That's what sort of struck us, right?
Yeah.
When we thought of it as Prana Kitchens.
That's awesome.
And like I said, Ayurveda talks a lot about prana and how prana helps rejuvenate yourself, right? Your body. So good prana is very important.
Okay.
So then we said that's what we will call it. So this is good prana going to your kitchen.
Okay. Nice. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Nice name.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question is, growing up, what was your favorite food? Each of you.
Mine is, I grew up in the north a lot. So I think even to this day, there are two I would say. As a South Indian, I like molagu korma a lot. Like you can put me on an island, I'll have molagu korma every day. And the other food I think I would really want is bhel puri.
Oh, really? Okay, sweet.
Shri would know this. My favorite one, avial.
Oh. That's awesome.
That's my favorite. I mean, it's hard to choose, but I love her avial. Her avial
Anybody
eh?
is
comes over, for me, papadam and avial is my favorite.
That's amazing.
Any day. Or even more korma. Like
Oh, yeah.
mambaram put it. Like we put mambaram and make more korma.
Right.
That's another favorite.
That's amazing.
What's yours?
Well, sambar and
Oh, that's what you
Sambar
did say.
and rice
Sambar
and
and
murke.
murke.
Budi.
Yes,
Budi.
murke.
Budi, or
Yes.
it's like I forget what the brand is. It's like the yellow bag, and it's not a murke. It's like tengua. I don't know.
Tenguril.
Tengul.
Yeah, tenguril. Yeah.
It just tastes so good, and it's like the crunch
Yes.
is right. But sambar any day could work really well.
Okay.
Really well, yeah.
Okay.
I have a funny story with avial. Or aval, sorry. Or what
Avial.
is it? Avial,
Avial.
right?
Mm.
It's like that's the kolam, like the
That's
kolam.
a vegetable and
It's a
Yeah,
vegetable stew with
Right,
coconut and
Coconut and
yogurt and all
yogurt,
that. Yeah.
So we were at a wedding in Houston. I think I was telling you guys. And so as groomsmen, they were doing after the wedding on Saturday or Sunday morning. It was at the Meenakshi Amman temple on the auditorium, and they have that kitchen or food area on the side. And so they were doing like just lunch, like Tamil lunch on Yela and stuff, and they had us serve it, right? And I was walking around, I think it was with Kute.
Kute.
Yeah, and I just became there was only one patram of Kute, and I walked around literally there were so many rows, and I walked around every single row, and I would be like, "Do you guys want some Kute?" And then these uncles and aunties would look at me and they'd be like, "No, that's avial. That's avial." And then I'm like, "No, it's kute." And then they were like, "No, avial is this," and they try to explain it. And I'm like, "No, yes, I understand. I know what avial is. Avial was served before.
This is kute.
This is kute. Do you want kute or not?" They were Tamil-splaining to me, and then I was just like, "Yeah, it's kute." And they were trying to, and then I was emceeing the reception, and then I called everyone out. I was like, "Everyone who Tamil-splained me what kute is," and I saying it was avial. It's like, yeah. It's good. But there is avial, but this is
good.
This is good.
Let me explain it to
Let me
you.
explain it to you. Yeah, exactly. So,
That's too funny.
yeah, I have that. But okay, so last question is for both of you separately, is if you had the chance to put anything you want on a billboard that 1 million people would see every single day, what would you want it to say? Or it can be anything, right? Image, video, saying, words, whatever you want.
That's a tough one.
I think I have one. For me, I would say paid forward. I think a lot of good has a lot of blessings that I feel that we've been blessed with, that come our way. And sometimes it's hard we often feel like, somebody's done something for them and I want to repay it or reciprocate.
Yeah.
But I think what I have found is sometimes it's not possible. Like going back to the example of Dr. Thampi, who
There's nothing we can do.
Yeah, there's nothing. He just came purely as a guide, right? He was a guide for us. And so the only way I think we can actually make it worth his while is to actually pay it forward.
Yeah.
So any good that's been done to you, pay it forward. 10 times if you can, but as many times as you can.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Nice.
That's really nice. Very nice. Well, what is it that there is so many things, right? So
Yeah, of
it's
course.
so hard to pick.
Pick one. Whatever comes to your mind first.
Whatever comes to you first.
That's why it's called rapid fire.
Okay, so I would say trust.
Mhm.
Yeah, because for me that has really worked. The moment I've that set your mind right, so it's huge because that's the positive. The whole positive energy thing is such an important factor in doing anything for that matter. So I would say that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And she's somebody who walks it. Like she just doesn't say it. She actually walks the talk. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, again, thank you for joining us.
thank you.
today.
Hari.
I had a
This
lovely
is
time.
so
It's like
much.
time just flew by. We've been
Yeah.
yapping away, and
Yeah,
That's why this is fun, right?
I know.
And you guys are clearly passionate and love what you're doing, which is why time just flies.
Yes.
I was just
That is
telling her
true,
like we love talking about Prana Kitchens. I think we just like yapped off.
Right? no, it was great. It was great.
Yeah.
But amazing. I mean, this is just the beginning.
It's
I'm
just a
sure
beginning.
There's more to be told in this
Yes,
story.
and we want to do more of these, whatever, like it could be like a cooking class, it could be something else
Yeah.
for you guys, like for the younger generation,
Of course.
for you to learn a little bit more. And if you have more questions related to,
Mhm.
even if you don't know something, we
Yeah.
would love to learn and sort of.
And learn from you because
Yeah.
you're the future. You see, what we've realized is your generation sees the world very differently from us.
Yes.
So we feel like there's a lot we could learn from you also. So
So
Appreciate
both
that.
ways, like
just walk together
Yeah.
and then
Make this happen.
and make
Make
this
this
happen.
happen,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Again, this is just the beginning.
it's just
But
a
with
beginning.
that, I mean, I'm sure as this journey goes along, we'll have you on again.
Yeah.
Thank
and
you.
you guys give us a massive update.
Yes.
Thank you.
Things that have happened with
Yes,
Prana
Yes,
we
Kitchens.
definitely hope
absolutely
so.
we will do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Absolutely.
hope to do that. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you,
All right,
Hari.
thank you,
Thank you,
Hari.
Arambam.
Thank
Good to
Yes.
have you guys, and
Yes.
then hey, you guys will see more from them soon.
Yes.
We'll keep you posted. Thanks.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Thank you.
Look forward to it. Thank you.
Cheers.